Welcome back. Well, the African Energy Week 2021 is an interactive exhibition and networking event hosted by the African Energy Chamber with the goal of uniting African energy stakeholders, driving industry growth and development, and promoting Africa as a destination for African-focused events and the future of Africa's energy sector. The four-day high-level conference includes networking opportunities as well as innovative exhibitions, one-on-one private meetings, and more. Joining me this morning in studio to enlighten us on this event is the Executive Chairman of the African Energy Chamber, Mr. N.J. Ayuk. Good morning, sir. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Well, you have been you in Africa. You've mentioned you were in Ghana, you're in Nigeria on a familiarization tour, visiting stakeholders, etc., just to speak about the upcoming Energy Week, which is slated for Cape Town. What is the mandate of the Chamber?
Mandate of the Chamber is to really advocate for free markets, drive up the energy industry, and big issue is making energy poverty history. 850 million people around Africa don't have any access to any kind of electricity. That's wrong. We need to use all sorts of energy, maybe oil and gas, to really change that. But at the end, we have to empower Africans to be great workers in this industry and also drive up entrepreneurship.
Talk to us about your visit to Nigeria and Ghana. How was that?
Nigeria is a really important country in the Africa energy space. Big country, 2 million barrels of petrol. But the sad story is, I say Nigeria is more of a gas country than an oil country, because you could use gas to really drive up petrochemicals and other things that could really help us still away. Nigeria was really important for me because we could really go there and see them pass the petroleum industry bill to make it, to provide incentives for oil companies, incentives for host communities, and really make sure that oil can work for everyday Africans and not just the few.
Let's speak about, you've just mentioned Nigeria with regards to the petrol or the fuel, as well as natural gas. Now, let's speak about energy transmission. Can you just explain to our viewers what is energy transmission?
Energy transition means we have to get to net zero. So you have to keep, because of climate change and global warming, we have to get the world, as we see it, under 1.5 degrees by 2050 when it comes to emitting carbon emissions, so that we can have a lovely world. I think that is a very important goal. But before we get there, we need to first get everybody energy access. And let's be honest, Namibia and many African countries do not have the same kind of development needs as you in Europe or in America and China. We still have to build new schools and new roads, infrastructure, and really develop that. So African countries have emitted only less than 2% of the damage. We must not be left to pay for that damage. We should be able to use our natural resources to develop our communities and create more jobs and get more young people to work with in Africa and work in these cities like Windhoek, instead of them setting out for distant shores to go to Europe or America to find greener pastures. There is beauty in Africa, there can be jobs in Africa, and we need our young people to really grow Africa.
Yeah, and speaking about energy transmissions, I see this is a very, very important topic. What can our companies now that are involved in oil and natural gas, what is their role, or what can they do rather, when it comes to energy transmission? Either keeping, like you said, the energy transmissions down, not going higher than 2%. What would their role be in this?
We all have a role because we're good stewards of the environment. Nobody loves the environment more than Africans do. But the most important thing we need to do right now is we need to move away from what has been seen as really things like coal. We need to start gradually moving away from coal. We need to use more gas. We need to use oil to transition. But we need to also embrace things like renewables, solar. And that's not bad. It could be helpful. Namibia, though, it's one of the countries in Africa that could have a multi-billion-dollar green hydrogen project. Green hydrogen is going to be something that could be as equivalent as oil. It's highly needed in Europe, highly needed in America, and could be also be used locally to drive up development. And so we should embrace that. When you are in a situation like where we are, we need to embrace a great energy mix that really drives Africa, but also drives these countries like Namibia that has been so blessed with so much space, so much land, so much air, and also just so much sun.
And I'm glad you mentioned that, because Namibia has been trying to leverage our wind and our sun as well, so that we can have solar power and whatnot. But do you think that we're doing enough as Namibians, or should we be doing more when it comes to this green energy?
I am never satisfied. I think everybody should be doing more. I think there is a lot more to be done, but also Namibia has done a great job in creating an enabling environment. But a lot more still has to be done in attracting financing to meet that environment, because you need capital to drive up this project. One of the biggest issues you're going to see in the energy space, not just green hydrogen, but everything, is getting capital. But not only capital, patient capital that gives hope in this project. So we need to reach out more. We need to go to Africa Energy Week. We need to talk to investors. We need to package the programs very well. We need to explain a return on investment, because it's not charity. It is, you need to be able to show that when you invest in green hydrogen, when you invest in oil, when you invest in gas, when you invest in small-scale power plants, you are going to get money and it's going to be profitable. And I think my interactions with the minister, with the Petroleum Commission, with NAMCO, they get that. And I think if we give them that support, we give them those platforms, they could really build something that could be attractive to Namibia, and we can get to the Namibia that we want to see and the Namibia that we deserve.
I'm so glad you went into that. You mentioned speaking to NAMCO, speaking to the minister, the line minister, Tom Arendo. So what can Namibia expect, or why should why should we be excited to attend this Energy Week?
Because we're exciting. But also what you should expect is that you should expect a face-to-face meeting with some of the biggest investors in the world, like Carlyle Group and others. But also you should expect a great interaction in shaping an African agenda when it comes to energy transition. You have done an amazing job in attracting some of the best petroleum companies, Shell, Recon, Exxon, and others. They're all here. But now you need to go further. We need to promote to see there's so much more opportunities around that. This is a chance to really be there, interact. NAMCO has to think about doing joint ventures with other things to expand itself, but also attract other partners so that Namibia can become a hub for energy that could serve its neighbors, but also serve its people. Because at the end of the day, the people here. But one other thing that most people don't mention, we need to have a clear conversation on the role of women when it comes in the African energy sector. That has always been put under the rug. We don't talk about it. And Africa Energy Week is going to focus a lot on that. How are we going to get women focused in driving? It's so stupid that in our continent, 52% of the population is left out of its most important economy, energy. And we want to put that center stage, and we want to drive that agenda, because yes, we're down right now, but if we can look up, we can get up. And I think that's what we strive to do.
That sounds absolutely wonderful. You mentioned the role of women in the energy sector, the importance of it. What is the role of women in the energy sector? What are we lacking?
It's not about what are we lacking, it's about what are we not doing. Because you need to improve a lot in STEM education. But also we need to start passing the right kind of legislation, the right kind of rules to really empower women. It's always been good to empower men. There's nothing wrong in empowering women in this sector. But you have to also create that enabling environment, that framework, those fields within the jobs to make sure that women can come in, they can grow. But also we have to start getting women in board of directors within these companies. We need to start getting women to serve on high-ranking positions within there. You got women geologists, you got women scientists. That has to become a part and parcel. It's not enough. For me, it's not enough to see just under 7% of women representation in our energy sector. We should be looking at 40 to 60%, and we should have an energy industry that looks like the continent that we live in.
Thank you so much for that. I really couldn't agree more. Mr. Ayuk, do you have any final comments so we conclude this interview this morning?
I love Namibia, man. I want
Thank
to
you
come
so
right
much.
back.
Thank you so
I want
much.
to come back again, and trust me, I'll be here. The food is good, and I want to be here again.
No, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Thank you also for being in Namibia, doing what you're doing so that we can promote our energy sector. I hope you have a blessed day ahead, sir.
Thank you so much. It's an honor.
Well, there you have it. That's the Executive Chairman of the African Energy Chamber, Mr. NJ Ayuk. We'll be right back after this.